Bullies poured ink on the quiet girl's head in class. She rubbed it in and whispered, "Now watch." It happened in a blink. One moment, the classroom buzzed with the sleepy drone of lectures and tapping pencils, and the next, a thick splash of dark blue ink cascaded over her head like a tidal wave of cruelty. It soaked through her long, neat hair, trailed down her pale neck, and bled onto the collar of her white uniform shirt. The silence that followed was deafening. No one breathed, no one moved. Except her. The quiet girl. The one they always mocked, always overlooked, always labeled as strange or mute or just there. But this time, she didn't cry. She didn't run. She didn't scream. Instead, with trembling fingers, she reached up, dragged the ink down her face, smeared it across her cheeks like war paint, and then looked up slowly. Her eyes locked with the boy who'd done it, Josh, the ringleader of cruelty. And with a cold, steady voice that cut through the classroom like ice, she whispered, "Now watch. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, in people rising from the darkest moments to show the world their light, then please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to leave a comment below. Your words matter more than you know." Avery Lane had always been the girl in the shadows. She was the one sitting in the back row, pressed against the wall as if she could vanish into it. She was the girl who never spoke unless spoken to, whose eyes rarely met others, whose footsteps were soft and careful like she was afraid of leaving a mark anywhere she went. She moved through high school like a ghost, visible, but not acknowledged. Her long chestnut hair often hid her face, and behind it were quiet eyes that saw everything but revealed nothing. Teachers appreciated her silence. Students ignored her. And the bullies? Well, they thrived on it. Josh Mercer was everything Avery wasn't: loud, confident, golden-haired, football jacket-wearing king of the lunchroom. Wherever he went, people laughed. Even when the laughter came from hurting someone else. His favorite game? Picking on the kids who couldn't fight back. And Avery had become his favorite target. To him, she was easy prey. No one to defend her. No comebacks. Just quiet submission. Until that day. The ink incident wasn't random, it was planned. They'd seen her reading in class, tucked into her world of poetry and sketchbooks, and decided she needed to be put in her place. It wasn't about her. It never was. It was about power. And when Josh uncapped that fountain pen, tilted it forward, and let the ink pour, he thought it would break her like it always did. But something had changed. Something inside Avery had cracked open, not in pain, but in power. She smeared the ink across her face not in surrender, but in defiance. And when she said, "Now watch," the entire room realized it was no longer a game. What no one knew was what Avery carried inside. At home, her world wasn't much kinder. A widowed father battling grief and alcoholism, a house filled with silence and shattered picture frames, a mother long gone to cancer. Avery survived through her art. Through pages and pages of notebooks filled with vivid sketches, raw emotions, and dreams of being seen. She taught herself animation, spent hours learning how to create moving stories, and poured her pain into characters who triumphed, who transformed. Her dream was simple: to tell stories that made people feel what she felt every day, unseen, unheard, but deeply alive inside. After the ink incident, something inside Avery ignited. She stopped hiding. She started showing up, really showing up. She wore her hair tied back, eyes wide open. And every day after school, she locked herself in the computer lab and worked. She didn't tell anyone what she was doing. Not even Ms. Torres, the kind art teacher who had once slipped her a new sketchpad when she'd seen the frayed edges of Avery's old one. Avery animated her story. From scratch. Using only free software, an outdated laptop, and a determination that refused to die. She created a short film. About a quiet girl. Who was drowned in ink. Who rose from it and painted the world in color. 3 weeks later, during the school's annual talent showcase, an event Avery had never once attended, she signed up as the final performer. The auditorium buzzed with chatter, students impatient to leave, teachers pretending to pay attention. But when the screen flickered to life and Avery stepped onto the stage with just a clicker in her hand, the room shifted. Her film played. And it was silent. Completely, breathlessly silent. The animation began with a quiet girl sitting in the back of a classroom, eyes down, heart heavy. And then came the ink. A storm of it. The girl vanished under its weight. But from the darkness, she didn't disappear. She emerged. Stronger. Bolder. And with every frame, the color returned. Her steps became louder. Her smile returned. And at the end, she stood before a crowd that finally saw her, and she glowed. When the screen faded to black, the auditorium didn't move for a full 5 seconds. Then the applause erupted. Not the polite clapping kind, but the thunderous, standing ovation kind. Josh sat frozen in his seat, jaw slack. And Avery? She just smiled. Not in triumph over him, but in triumph over herself. She'd done it. She was no longer the ghost in the hallway. She was the voice, the vision, the girl who rose from ink and painted her own ending. From that moment, everything changed. Ms. Torres submitted her animation to a youth film festival. It won first prize. Avery was offered a mentorship at a prestigious art studio. Her story, shared online by a classmate, went viral. Not because she was a victim, but because she was a creator. She'd taken her pain and made art. She'd turned humiliation into fuel. And slowly, others began to speak too. Students who'd been bullied. Kids who felt invisible. They found courage in her courage. But Avery never sought fame. She stayed the same quiet girl, just no longer afraid. No longer invisible. She even forgave Josh. Not with words, but by living well. And sometimes, that's the most powerful revenge. If this story touched your heart, if you've ever felt invisible, overlooked, or like your voice didn't matter, please like this video. Share it. Let someone else feel seen. Subscribe to our channel if you believe in turning pain into power. And leave a comment below, we read every single one, and your story could inspire someone else to rise. Comment below, have you ever been underestimated, ignored, or bullied, but chose to rise anyway? We want to hear your voice.